Welcome back to an episode of Clutch Gene Sports. I'm with a special guest today, Davey Liechty from Back Country Fam on Twitter. If you guys are not aware of that, today we're going to be talking real briefly about some of the signings, real quick, doing a mock draft today, right after this. Welcome back to an episode of Clutch Gene Sports. How's it going, David?
Hey, man, I'm great. Just got back today. I'm a Knowledge Bowl coach here at my high school, and we are once again Northeast Minnesota champions. And so we are headed to the state meet here in another month. Add another trophy to the shelf. It's caving under the pressure of greatness. It's just one more trophy, one more medal. It's just another day that ends in Y in my life, baby. And I'm proud of my kids. Just a bunch of smarties. And we just kicked ass. Oh God, I've lost count, man. It's been like I've been coaching for a while. Before me, I mean, we just different years, same story. We just win. We just win.
Just winners, right? You're like Mike Singletary. You just want winners, right?
I just want winners, baby. Just want winners.
That is hilarious. Well, I'm glad you guys won. It sounds very fun and entertaining. People who don't know, you're a teacher, right? You said?
I'm a high school teacher. I teach U.S. history. I teach AP Human Geography, AP World History. I teach Native American Studies. I used to coach baseball and cross country and track, but now it's exclusively Knowledge Bowl, right? It's winning this program in school history. We got to focus on it is. Yeah, we're smart. Our kids are smarter than you. That's that. And we do. We talk a little smack. I encourage it. And we're working on a little something for the state meet for people. We don't plan on winning the sportsmanship award.
That's no sportsmanship. All right, I get it.
No,
I feel this. You're one of those coaches, huh?
I'm Fred Warner, baby, on the field. Yes, I'll let you know that I'm there. I tell my kids. My kid comes out of the room today. This is classic. This is a real story. He comes out, and this kid, he's like 4 foot nothing. I can't go into it with privacy stuff, but he says, "Oh, Mr. Liechty, my back hurts," and I'm like, I legit has me thinking like he weighs like 90 pounds stripping what, and he's like, I said, "What's the problem? You've been just sitting down all day. What have you been doing?" He's like, "Yeah, man, back hurts." From what? I'm like, carrying the team, and straight face had me just dying. The rest of the kids were like totally. They had them. They thought, and it was great. It was great.
That's hilarious. Well, David, people who don't know you, they could follow you at Backcountry Fam on Twitter. David likes to do a lot of draft work. That's why I brought him on today's show. Very knowledgeable in terms of football. Obviously tapped in with the Niners. So I had to bring him on today to do a mock draft. But before we even get into that mock draft, what was your initial reaction to the 49ers releasing Arik Armstead because he didn't want to rework a contract?
Yeah, here's the thing. I think that initially in the media, it was with Arik Armstead getting cut is this idea that, okay, we think that money is going to be, we post June 1st designated, and as if that money can do something in free agency. But as it turns out, that's actually not really the case and would have to be something that was rolled over into a 25-26.
Yep.
And so and I could be wrong on this, but it felt like, so that tempered it a little bit for me. Now, I understand that you could probably put that money towards deferred guarantees in other contracts for extensions and other free agent signings this year. True. But it doesn't actually give you any capital to pay the bills in the short term. And I think, I think maybe that is part and parcel for why you might not have seen maybe quite. I think that people saw that action, they thought, oh, this is something, they've got something up their sleeve, and they still might. But it's been pretty quiet on the 2024 front as far as newcomers and people leaving, as we're going to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So according to my knowledge of the cap, and normally I have Rohan on because he's a much better cap person than I am when it comes to that. Um, Based off my knowledge, the Niners could technically use that 17 million or the 15 million they're saving, whatever the number is, to be exact, post June 1st. So, for example, if someone gets cut later in the offseason or something like that happens, something drastic, someone's getting ready to get traded because their contract situation isn't coming down to it, they could essentially trade for someone using that draft capital from that 2025 season draft class and use that money there. But I was very interested because I don't get the Niners thinking the way they thought, like, you know what, Armstead's going to restructure for us because we've done him right for the past few years. Players ain't going away from their money. Now, the first thing that happens after that is announced, they sign Leonard Floyd, edge rusher. Now, you can look at it two ways: productive and durable over the last 4 years, or you can look at it in another lens. And I'm curious, and what is your initial reaction to it? Because a lot of fans loved it, a lot of fans didn't.
Here's my thing. I've learned as I've gotten older as a fan that it's real. I mean, look, we're all fans. You want to be excited about X. I learned to temper that. And I think sometimes people think that if you pump the brakes or if you're not doing cartwheels, you're not throwing a parade, that means that you're hating, right? I think that this situation with Leonard Floyd to me is in what I've seen, and I'm not the gospel here, but I see a guy who's high energy, but I see a guy that from what I see, sometimes has a penchant to sometimes play undisciplined, pin his ears back, all gas, no brakes, right? The Robert Saleh mantra. But yet, when you look at his sack, yeah, he has sacks, but routinely is like a 10% pass rush win rate. And PFF isn't gospel. And it's not even looking at his grades. His idea that PFF hands out pressures like they're candy. And yet, so I'm looking at all the pressures PFF gives him, which is more than most people will give. Then I'm looking at the pass rush snaps, which are legit. And it's still bearing out over the last several years. Then I look back to the years with the Rams before he's with the Bills, and he's routinely at the bottom for edge players in run stop efficiency. I see a guy who is going to be 32 on September 8th, before the season starts. I think can be a piece, but what I feel was paid is not the end of the world. But when you're already cash strapped and you have other pieces, and you have people like Cleveland Furrow leaving and Javon Kinlaw leaving and other people that are leaving, I don't know how much of an upgrade this really is, because I'm realistic about this idea that the cliff's coming. He's going to be 32 and he has been productive, like you said, but beyond the box score, I also see other metrics that seem to be reliably extrapolated that make me feel like, is this really an upgrade? And I'm
Absolutely.
totally willing to understand and listen to other people say that. Otherwise, I just look at this and I'm not confident. People have been saying, "No, this is the best edge rusher opposite of Bosa." I'm like, I don't. And here's the thing that I would ask you, Marco. Everybody's so ready to dismiss Chase Young, and I'm not saying Chase Young is the second coming either, but I do believe Chase Young is a better all-around football player than Leonard Floyd, and I'm really interested to see what Chase Young ends up garnering in the market, because I don't think it's going to be that much.
What's crazy is you're right. There's untapped potential with Chase Young. They obviously traded a third round pick for him, comp pick, so they aren't worried about their comp pick selections. But you need to trade a third round pick for a player who is very familiar with Nick Bosa. Like, you kind of were wondering, like, where's that untapped potential at? Like, why didn't you keep him? You probably could have got him on a team friendlier deal than anyone else on the market because he wants to be on the Niners. But just announced Ariv Miriov announced the contract numbers for Javon Kinlaw. Congratulations for Javon Kinlaw. Had a very, very bad first few years to his career due to that knee injury. Got healthy. He just got paid 1 year, $7.25 million with 6.9 guaranteed. That's a hell of a deal for Javon Kinlaw. Hopefully he could create something in New York with Robert Saleh. So congratulations to him. Then the Niners become a little redundant, and they sign Yetur Gross Matos for roughly $9 million on the year. So the guarantee numbers on both players aren't out yet. I actually know the guaranteed on Leonard Floyd is out. It is 2 years, $20 million with $12 million guaranteed. Him getting that full $12 million in year one.
Yep.
I have not seen no guaranteed money on Gross Matos. What is your thoughts on that second signing from the Niners?
Again, I don't think the sky is falling, but I hate that I have to keep prefacing that. Here's the thing that I see. I see a guy that immediately I'm seeing reactions to say, wait till Chris Kasurik gets his hands on him. Wait till Chris Kasurik gets his hands on him. You know what they said that about? They said that about Chase Young. Wait till Chase Young gets with Chris. And this is not Chris Kasurik slander, but this idea that like the 49ers are the only, it's like with Parag Marath. We have this idea, Parag Marath is the only person that can work contract magic. Chris Kasurik is the only person that can, mold this lump of clay and make it into something special. And I find that to be really myopic. I feel it to be really narrow-minded, and in our fan base, since we get consumed with our guys. I see a guy in Gross Matos who people say he's got so much untapped potential. It's fifth year in the league. It's fifth year in the league. He's 26 years old. He's not ancient, but he's been in the league, right? He's been with, be like, oh, he wasn't getting coached in Carolina. Here, I see a guy that absolutely could be a rotational piece. It's a guy that I wouldn't have given the guarantees or given the money that he's gotten. It's not that much, but it is when you think about the redundancy, like you just said, of taking two guys who I look at as below. I'm just going to say it, 32 with Leonard Floyd. I look at that as below average. I know people say, oh, 10 and a half sacks. I'm just telling you right now, it's not going to be 10 and a half sacks from Leonard Floyd. I'm just going to bookmark it. Okay. Gross Matos, these are rotational pieces that aren't going to be there and you need depth. But then I also look at the pieces that left. I mean, Javon Kinlaw is a different position, right? But that's that defensive line depth could go down the line. I look at Cleveland Ferrell, who, again, didn't light the world on fire. But when he went down, when Eric Armstead went down, what happens to our run defense, right? And both of those guys are gone. And I look at these guys who, Gross Matos, to me, when you're talking about a 26-year-old, fifth-year guy in the league, who has actually had high draft capital, was a guy that had a high ceiling, low floor coming into the draft. Okay. I just don't know if you're going to be able to bank on that. Now, is it a short-term deal? Yes. Right. Does that mean the sky is falling? No. Do I think that means the needle moved? No. And so I think that there's still answers there. I think they still have holes.
Absolutely. And for me, I thought it was, I don't mind the player. I really liked him coming out of college. Thought he was a good player. But for me, it's just redundant. You sign an edge rusher. So to me, it's like, okay, you're throwing two darts, hoping one sticks there. What I do like about the contract, though, is a lot of the contracts we've seen in the past have been Charles Omenihu 1-year deal. Like just 1-year deals where Chris Kasurik gets his hands on a player. He does get to get the best out of him that 1 year, and then they leave, and then they go have a good, decent career elsewhere. What I do like is it's a 2-year deal, so we might see a little bit more from that player year 2. Hopefully, it's a full offseason. Now, what I was hoping for was Chase Young having a full offseason with Chris Kasurik.
Yeah, so was I. I was hoping for that as well. And I think that I look back at a guy you had just talked about, Gross Matos, but I think that I feel strongly that you invested a 3rd round pick in Chase Young. Now, is that worth it, right, to go for the Super Bowl? Sure. Okay. In a way. But to me, I feel like this idea that, wait a minute, Chase Young came in. What week did Chase Young come in? Like mid-season. I want to say it was week 8? Yeah. Week 8, 9, right after the bye week. And so he comes in, has no offseason with the 49ers. Obviously, it's not completely like foreign scheme, but like he comes in, he has some ups and downs, right? Didn't play that poorly in the Super Bowl, I didn't think, but he had some ups and downs, right? He's a young player with a lot of upside, and I think people will focus on the box scores with edge rushers, but Chase Young is supposed to be an all-around edge player along that defensive line. Leonard Floyd is a pass rush specialist. Gross Matos is a little bit more of that guy that has more utility, but when you bring up Charles Omenihu was already productive, but he just didn't have that box score flavor, right? He didn't have that but like Charles Omenihu on the low, was produced. He was produced. When I think about production, Mark, I know you probably think, I always hear production, and I think production to most people means stats. Like I don't. We might have difference in this, it's like secondary corner. Some people really are obsessed with the INT, and INTs are important, but some of those can be outliers.
Absolutely,
some of those can be outliers, right? And so this idea that I look at a guy like Charles Omenihu, my God, the utility he brought. And to have him on a 1 year, I said that John Lynch and Kyle, that I thought that was one of the best acquisitions, midseason acquisitions in 49ers history. And I knew that sounded like super crazy, and it wasn't. But yet then he's gone. And he's incredibly productive for the Chiefs. And when he goes down against the Ravens, they thought that might have been the missing piece that cost him a Super Bowl against the 49ers. I mean, so I don't know, man. I just feel like I look back at what could have been with some of these guys who I feel like were underrated, like Charles Omenihu, Cleveland Ferrell, who I was dogging a little bit before when they signed him. And he turns out to actually be one of those yeoman type of like,
really good signings.
And look what he signed with the Commanders, like $3.4 million, another 1 year deal. I don't know, man. Like to me, when our run defense is like bottom of the barrel at the end of the year with those guys out, it's a tough pill to swallow, knowing that the only way that you looks like you're going to try to fill those holes is through the draft when you still have other pieces. And I know we're going to talk about tonight with our mock draft.
Absolutely. And just to put into numbers wise, right? Josh Uch from New England, a pure pass rush specialist. So if you want to look at it, 25, I believe, 25 going to be 26 after the season, 18 and a half sacks over the last 2 years, had a down year last year, got paid 1 year, $3 million, 2.3 fully guaranteed to go back to New England. So for me, I'm looking at him like, why not invest there? Speed, kind of like the D Ford-esque. And you truly let that walk. I don't know. For me, team building wise, I don't know what's going on. I understand it in a little bit. The Niners signed Jordan Elliott. I love Jordan Elliott coming out from his. I thought he was phenomenal run defender with the athleticism and the upside to become a great pass rusher. What are your thoughts on this signing? And is this something that the Niners are going to be looking forward to? Another 2 year deal. Should fans be excited about this? I'm more excited about this than the other two signings.
I told my buddy Jake on Twitter. He DM'd me about it. I DM'd him and I said, hey, I actually low key am more excited about Jordan Elliott than any signing the 49ers have had. And I don't I don't give ask me like about people. I swear to God, PFF has rotted the brain of. I'm not saying it's a bad tool. I'm not saying that there isn't something like a baseline to look at there to like compare it as a barometer of sorts. But I think that people will see this, and Jordan Elliott coming out of college, coming out of Mizzou, was a freak. He was one of those guys that just like that length, size, inside out, like just do whatever you want him to do. And you talk about a lump of clay. I love that type of signing. And what was his contract, Marco? Just refresh my memory. Did you get
for Omenihu 2 years, 10 million?
No, Jordan Elliott.
Jordan Elliott, my bad. 2 year, 2 year, 10 million. That's what I was talking about. My bad.
Okay. So to me, like that, I'm more excited about Jordan Elliott because of the rotational depth that he's going to have, where you can use him and how he's going to use him. And he's going to be more of a dynamic player. I understand there's some Browns guys that he did not work out for the Browns. Look, that team was deep. I don't think he had enough snap. I look at him as a guy that when asked to be a rotational player at that price point is palatable to me. The Gross Matos Floyd thing, I get that. I also don't know if I see the production on limited snaps that's going to be reliable in those situations. And I worry about their versatility in those situations. So yeah, I like Jordan Elliott, and I'm not saying that he's going to light the world on fire, but I think that is a cost-effective 2 year deal where he might end up paying more dividends than I think most fans, and there's no knock on most fans. Like, I think that most people are looking at the signings like, who cares? I've never heard of this guy. He doesn't have that name capital. He doesn't have that, but he's from the Browns. And why wouldn't, if the Browns didn't want him, why? No, I think he's going to be a player that comes in and rotates well.
What's interesting is I hit up a Brown content creator who he does Locked On Browns, and I asked him, like, what are your thoughts on Elliott? He's like, honestly, last year was his best year. Definitely is going to be a good rotational piece and could start. He never really got the chance to play with talented players inside. Last year he got that chance and showed out and played really well. And then I asked him about run defense. He goes, a really good run defender. He's going to be able to start for you guys, but he's going to come off the field on passing situations where he still needs to develop. It's perfect for the 49ers because if you look at what they're trying to do, they want to put Yetur Gross-Matos inside on passing situations against offensive guards. Jordan Elliott's going to be a run defender, something the Niners really need. And I think he has the athleticism and the ability to rush on occasionally. I think he's going to get a few sacks. Just playing alongside Hargrave, playing alongside Bosa, you're going to get a lot more one-on-ones versus on when he was with the Browns his first few years. It was Myles Garrett, Jordan Elliott. I don't think I can't name who was opposite of Garrett or the other guy inside. So you look at it, truly, well, the content creator is telling me, you know what? Don't listen to PFF. Don't do it. If you're looking at the PFF grades, don't do it.
I agree.
Now today is the whole point to do a mock draft, but I want to see if there's any free agents out there that you still want the Niners to sign. Is there a corner, guard, tackle? Is there anyone out there that you think the Niners should 100% go out and sign?
Well, here's the thing. Can I talk? What you've been? I know there were talks. I think
Greg Newsome. Newsome's what you're talking about. Yeah, I've mentioned it on here, so I've mentioned it. Go ahead.
You mentioned that to me. I know that's not a signing, but that's a trade. And I know, like, if that were the case, I know people have been talking about L'Jarius Sneed. Oh, he's only going to take X. Well, L'Jarius Sneed's going to command a larger contract right away. And here's the thing with me. I think I look at Greg Newsome was a draft crush for me. I know our guy Jesse, it was the same way. I was crossing my fingers for Greg Newsome when he came out of Northwestern. Greg Newsome, low key, is still, I think, here's the thing. Cleveland has a lot of great players that is low key. Like, people forget like how good a lot of those dudes are because nobody watches the Browns play. And I mean, honestly, let's be real. Like, people hadn't been really paying attention until the Joe Flacco comeback story. Okay. And Greg Newsome, Martin Emerson, I know Martin Emerson was your guy. I remember that vividly. You were like all about the Niners going after Emerson. And the Browns can't go do both of those with Denzel Ward. And so if that were the case, I don't know exactly what it would take for Greg Newsome. I think that Greg Newsome is a guy that has the caliber to be a little, like, seriously a top 10 quarterback in this league. I really look at that type of talent. Whether he cracks the top 10 is whatever, but he has that talent. And he's corners like him, drafted in 2021. He's going to go into his 4th year. His 5th year option gets picked up in May. You don't have to extend him right away, but he probably does want a new contract. So, but that 4th year leap, similar to Jalen Johnson, right? Jalen Johnson took that 4th year leap. Greg Newsome's already been more productive than Jalen Johnson. And I mean, like, a better, more consistent performer than Jalen Johnson. Greg Newsome is ready to be, I guarantee you this, Greg Newsome has a year this year, and he's going to be one of those guys that's going to price himself out. And so I just feel like that would be something that I think would make Niners fans just ecstatic. I think you put Mooney Ward on the outside. I think you have Greg Newsome. And then you cross that bridge when you go there. Do you extend Demo? Does Demo want to bet on himself? Or do you want to say that nickel back is a starting position, and now all of a sudden you're rolling with Mooney, Demo, and Greg Newsome? I'm sorry, man. That's the best corner trio in the NFL. Period. And so
I agree with you.
And I'm different than maybe. I'm a big coverage. Like, I'm not binary about coverage versus pass rush. I do, though, feel in this modern NFL that people talk about pass happy, but you look at the stats this year, people are not pushing it down the field quite as much. And I think a big reason for that, though, is if you can show that, I think the Chiefs showed it. The Chiefs put it on tape in the Super Bowl, right? If you can go in man coverage and trust those guys in man coverage, and Greg Newsome excels in it, Mooney can excel in it, Demo can do it, like, that allows all those guys underneath who you already have as studs to thrive. And then you have those Yetur Gross-Matoses and the Floyds who might not be the caliber, can really maybe show that they're, more production than you might have expected. So that's the one I'm looking for. If I were looking at offensive line, I don't know what else is really out there at this point in free agency. I think that the 49ers already put Colton McKivitz at right tackle, but a really cheap contract. It can be there for a swing tackle price in 2025. I think when we're going to talk about the mock draft tonight, I don't think there are any other options at tackle clearly in free agency that, to me, and maybe you could correct me, there's anybody there to move McKivitz out of his spot. So that's where I'm at. I would address corner. I don't think they have the capital to address edge anymore. I know Danielle Hunter was a guy that people like, but he just signed buku bucks with D'Amico at the Texans. Fully guaranteed. I think it was $48 million fully guaranteed. Yeah, 24 each. That and to be fair, that's way out of the Niners price range. Like, that was way.
It's what's interesting is he got pretty much fully guaranteed. Another little tidbit before we get into this mock draft real quick. Josh Uche, who I had confirmed the Niners were in contact with.
Yep.
He actually had several offers, one including $15 million over 2 years and $11 million guaranteed. He opted to go with his heart. He stayed in New England on a 1-year, $3 million deal that has the full upside to hit $8 million. So he must be, Mayo must be telling him, you know what? Hey, this is going to be the opportunity. We're going to have a great season with you. You're going to be playing. Bill Belichick's going to play you the right way. I am. Maybe what it could be, D'Amico is going to have a top 10 defense. Absolutely. We stuck with McKivitz, but I hope we go get a good guard. If they do go get a guard or a center, Connor Williams is still out there, but he's recovering from an ACL, so you may get him on a cheaper contract. If the Niners do want to go corner, and they don't want to trade for someone and trade up and give away capital, there's guys like Dory Jackson, Kendall Fuller. If you want to upgrade at outside corner or even the slot, I think Dory Jackson could play either or. But going into this mock draft, let's get this banner out of here. Let's pull up the mock draft simulators. So everyone's aware, we're going to be doing a mock draft. We cannot trade, but we're going to take a look at the offers we get. But no one is going to be trading today. It's a pure mock draft.
We can trade, but Marco just doesn't want to have any fun tonight.
We could. So what I like to do is I like to truly see
I agree.
If the Niners were not to trade,
yep,
how a draft could play out, right? Like because you have 11 picks, you also have a lot of gaping holes on this roster. You got to truly, if the Niners could hit on 5 to 6 players, they could reset their timeline.
And I agree with you on this. Mocks are fun to do trades, like when you're just sitting there on your couch and running through it. But the reality is, even when the trades seem fair, it does take 2 or 3 to tango, and it's like it never ends up being that way. And I think you're right. Like it's a practice, and this is why mocks and other teams will tell you this. Those war rooms, those front offices will tell you this. They will not if you use these simulators, but doing these mocks are helpful to see what are my options to weigh cost-benefit analysis of position versus need versus X, right? And I think so tonight, this is going to be our first go-around post-combine, post-couple days of free agency.
So before we get started, make sure you guys drop your guys' positional needs. I know we're going to enter the draft. I'm going to pause it real quick before we could go, so I have both of them going at the same time. Before we even get going, what's your biggest need? I know the mock draft says Niners is offensive tackle and defensive tackle, and then it says corner, offensive guard, and then edge. What is your biggest draft need for the 49ers before we get started?
Oh boy, this is tough. I mean, you know me, I'm a BPA guy. I feel like getting married to a position is fool's errand. I think that, and I know it's never strictly BPA. At all times, like if I've got Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase on my team, I'm not drafting a receiver in the first round, right? Like, I get it. But this idea that, to me, offensive line is the biggest need. Right, offensive tackle going forward is the biggest need. Right guard is still a question mark. Center, to me, is a question mark. And the idea of going forward, drafting for this year is stupid. Bad teams draft for the current year. You can't, even if you're in a win now mode, you still have to think about down the road. That being said, my gut says, my head also says OT. But like I said, this defensive line, we know that this defensive line, this run defense fell apart. And it was, we almost had, in the Packers game against Detroit, the Chiefs didn't rear its head completely against the Chiefs, but boy, Mahomes had his way in those situations with his legs. This run defense has to improve. If not, because Javon Hargrave, bless his heart, he's a stud up the middle as a penetrator. He ain't going to get better in the run game. It's not going to happen, people.
No, he's never been a good run defender.
Nope, so he never has.
Let's hit resume draft on both of these real quick. So the first one is going to be yours. So make sure you remind me.
Dueling mock drafts. All right.
Far left is going to be your screen. The one on the right is going to be my screen. So we start yours. Let's go ahead and start mine. We'll let you go first. Looks like Joe Ott going to the Marvin Harrison going 3rd overall. Quarterback drops. Jaden Daniels to the Vikings. Sam Darnold and Jaden Daniels get to compete. We know who'd win that battle.
Oh my.
It's
going to fall the way I want. It's going to fall the way I want.
Tackles going.
Come on, baby. Don't do this.
Oh, I know who you're waiting for. That's
not going to happen.
Oh.
Bro, you got gotta be kidding me. One
so
pick
that is
before mine.
hilarious. That is so. Let's take.
Yeah.
Would you could go ahead and talk about yours? I'm going to take a look at what happened on my end.
All right. So I was going to take Byron Murphy if he fell to me, and I'm just going to say this right now. I think Byron Murphy is a top 10 player on my board. Actually, Byron Murphy is borderline a top 5 player on my board. And I know that sounds crazy to somebody. Byron Murphy is a freak. He is a day one utility defensive lineman, but one of the best he will become one of the best run defenders in the NFL with the ability to penetrate. His athleticism is freaky. He is not tall. He's not quite as short, like arm length as but what he can do and how he can hold blocks without being that Tavondre Sweat size. Byron Murphy would right away come and be a Chris Kasurik favorite. He would solve a lot of problems for that 49ers defensive line. But I can't go with Byron Murphy. So now I got to make.
Look, I could be nice to you.
Okay.
I know how big of a Byron Murphy fan you are.
No.
This draft on my end landed with Byron Murphy and Johnny Newton.
Oh my
both
God.
there.
My God.
Do you want? I could give you this one. I don't mind if that's what you want.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, we can't be doing this back and forth. We do this the first time.
No, you would. No, your first time you choose that one, and that is your size.
So here's my thing. So here's what we're gonna do because I know what you're gonna. I think I know what you're gonna do. I don't know completely, but I think this will be good. So why don't you give me that other draft board?
And that's gonna have this one with Byron Murphy.
And I want to see because I want to see what happens. And this is where these mocks are really cool because Byron Murphy is by far the best player on my board. Like, and I am a firm believer that unless it's like horse apiece, you're like, well, I don't know. To me, Byron Murphy is so far ahead on my board that I cannot not take him with this pick.
Same.
So I'm going to take Byron Murphy, but I also know that hamstrings my ability to address OT, especially if I'm not trading. We're not trading up at all either in this draft, but we're going to see what happens.
You firmly believe Colton McKivitz is the real deal.
Oh, Colton McKivitz.
If the Niners, the Niners could truly, you know what? Colton's our answer at right tackle, and we'll address that another year.
Colton McKivitz is a perennial All-Pro waiting to happen, and you just wait till Bob McKittrick, a legendary offensive line coach from the 80s and 90s, comes back alive and helps. I'm telling you, you're right. You know, I don't even know why I thought about drafting my man Kingsley or any of those guys. I'm going Byron Murphy. He is an All-Pro by year 3. He's a Pro Bowler year 2. He's Defensive Player of the Year 1. I'm going Byron Murphy.
On your side, you did have also too, even though we're not doing trade offers, you had Cleveland offering you 54, 156, and their 2025 draft second rounder. I would never do that, and neither no one would. Niners win it. New York Giants 47 in their second in 2025. Some people might because you're getting that 2025, but it's not worth it because you're losing value. I don't like it.
Here's the thing. And that part, it's like a team that's going to win now too. Look, that's not a bad offer because I think the Giants are going to be pretty bad this year. I'm not going to lie. I think their defense is going to be fun to watch, but I don't think they're going to be doing much. But yeah, I'm keeping the pick.
Byron Murphy. So for me, if this was my mock draft, since I gave it to you, I'm not going to lie, I would have gone Byron Murphy. It's too good of a pick. Also, it addresses a need in a way. The Niners have a need at defensive tackle now. I think it would be a home run pick if he falls to the Niners at 31 and they take him. I don't see him falling past, to be honest with you. I don't see him falling past Houston. And he's there at 23. They're taking him.
And here's the thing with Byron Murphy, though. I get that, but he's going to have questions. Kalijah Cansey was the guy that dropped a little bit with those size concerns. And I'm not saying, but Byron Murphy is not Kalijah Cansey, like T-Rex arms kind of thing like that. But he's not your prototypical complete, he's not your Javon Kinlaw specimen that John Lynch fell in love with and traded DeForest Buckner away from. Because, that was a great pick. So, anyway, yeah, I'm going with Byron Murphy. I'm interested to see what you're going to do with your board.
So, for me, my favorite thing about Byron Murphy is his first step explosiveness, high motor, plays with great pad level. Things that are concerning, size, maybe scheme specific to some teams. And then his ability, when I do watch him, his ability during double teams, that's where I would say. So here you go. I'm taking Byron Murphy on your end. I'll let that play out. Oh, Christian Haynes right after. Oh, that's a shocker.
And he's a guy that I had my eye on in the second round. That ain't happening.
So for me, I'm a huge Kingsley Suamataia guy. Just got off the talking to a few people. People are saying that he's going to be there at 31. People are also saying that he should go top 25 from multiple people I talked to. For me, guaranteed starter right away, year one. I don't see how Colton McKivitz beats him out. I have him at my offensive tackle 3. I'm a lot higher on him than most people.
Yep.
Kingsley is, to me, what I'm excited for the Niners to draft. Now, he can play that left tackle role. I'm 100% going Kingsley. See what my trade offers were. I got pick 43 and 79. Not worth it for me. 44 and 77, but I'm also giving 94. Nope.
Ooh.
Pick 38 and Tennessee's 2025 first.
Oh, I'm taking that, but that's the most unrealistic trade I've ever seen. Tennessee might have the number 1 pick next year.
I would take that too, because it does give me the option, for example, to trade down. Kingsley might still be there. If not, Christian Haynes is there, and I'm getting a 2025 first. And that 2025 first is likely a top 10 pick. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So I would have to do that. But I'm going Kingsley Suamataia.
I love it.
Super, really talented player. Left tackle, right tackle versatility. He's a mauler in the run game. Pass protection, he still needs to work on shooting his hands the right way, properly. A lot of people that I talked to are high on him. If you have not watched it, I interviewed his offensive line coach at BYU. You can watch that on the show as well. I'm going Kingsley. Let the draft. Oh, Donnie Mitchell go into the Chiefs. I don't like that. So now, seeing yours, you got 2 offers at 63, which you're not allowed to take anyways. Tennessee.
I mean, that's an enticing. I get that. If I were not a team that really needed it, I think the Niners really need to address in the depth of this draft, and that second through the late third is really key to me. I can't give that up in this draft.
So just to take a look, Kingsley ended up going 39 on this side. So, for example, I don't think that's a reach at 31. People might say it's a reach, but hey, if he's going to be gone by 39, you have to trade up 30 spots to get him.
There's no reaching. This is the thing. You can't always trade. And this idea that reaches is just what punditry says. We got used to seeing in our heads that this number was next to this player. It's all a bunch of just preordained crap. Like, don't Kingsley Suamataia is going to go in the first round. I firmly believe that. But if he were to drop to 37, it's like 32 to 37 is, guys, it's the same window.
So on your end, you have the top of the board is Jalen Polk from Washington, and then you got Jatavion Sanders, tight end 2 to replace what's that tight end the Niners just lost?
Charlie Warner.
Yeah, Charlie Warner.
11 catches in 3 years, man. That's tight end 2, baby. Tight end 2.
But you have a lot of options here. You do have a lot of options. So
here's what I want you to do. Yeah, I'd like you to go if you go up to the positions a little bit.
Yeah. What position?
I'd like to go to OT here for a second. Okay.
My guy, Roger Rosengarten, man.
So here's the thing. People get there's a couple guys there's only a couple guys here that I like, and I love Roger Rosengarten, and I'm very intrigued by Kieran Amagachi. Okay. Now, people will say again, what's a reach? Now, we're not trading. And the Jimmy Garoppolo compensatory third became a 4th.
That's trash.
So now you don't have 94, 98. You just have 94. And now it became a 4th. So now you have 3 4th-round picks near the end of the 4th round. Well, all of a sudden, even if you weren't going to trade, 94, 98, boy, that's a big drop, 98 to 132. Mm-hmm. That's a whole round of value. Okay.
Well, it changed. It actually changed to 131. Okay. 133. Sorry, because
133.
The NFL screwed up on the compensatory picks. Yeah. Didn't give the Bengals the proper picks, so they had to rechange it. So it did change. I wanted to point that out.
So here's the thing. I really, and I'm gonna say, you were the guy that put me on to Roger Rosengarten, and then watching the tape. But then also he goes to the combine. Of course, everybody's like, "Oh my God, this guy's awesome!" Right? And like, well, my guy. By the way, I know if you're watching this, you already know Marco. Like, and I know we can't talk about the other stuff. So Marco's he's climbing that ladder, baby. He's scouting, okay, and I really feel that Marco really actually does his best work in the trenches, in my opinion. I'm not saying the other stuff is off, but like he has a really good eye for this. And Roger Rosengarten gets overshadowed by Troy Fatanu, right? And this all these other Washington Huskies that are in the first and second round. Roger Rosengarten, mark my words, there ain't no way in hell he's falling to 87. I'm going to say this right now. Okay,
bro. I have people telling me he's going top 60. Like, that's crazy.
So here's my thing: if I can't trade, and I know that OT is staring me down the barrel, I think Trent Williams is probably playing another couple of years. I think he will. But do we know? Do we really know what Trent Williams is going to do? And so I looked at this and I had planned for this when I was in the first round. And Rosengarten was one of the guys that's at the top of my list. And you have to ask yourself, if you really like a guy and he plays a premium position like Rosengarten does, and he can be a guy that comes in and gives you starting right tackle value, a premium position in the NFL, as Tristan Wirfs finally debunked that the left tackle is not the only position that matters. Okay. Do I feel comfortable taking Rosengarten at 63? Now, what I'd like to look at is OG.
Oh, you want to take a look at guard? Christian Mahogany's there.
I like Dominic Puny. I like it's too rich for me at 63. I'm going to go and I'm going to look at wide receiver. Nope. Okay. I'm going to I already looked at Jatavion Sanders. I'm going to go on the defensive side of the ball. Okay. Going to edge. Yes. Now, here's some guys I love. I know you love Austin Booker. I know Marshawn Nealand has a top 30 visit with the 49ers, and I think they're really high on him. I think he's going to climb. I think he will go in the second round. And I'm going to go to corner.
Corner. I know who you're looking for.
He ain't there. Now, TJ Tampa went up at like 39. That's my guy. Iowa State. He's going to be a stud. Now, I like a lot of the guys here. I like Cam Hart down there at 126. I love Renardo Green. I love Renardo Green. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm drafting Roger Rosengarten. I'm going to draft him at 63. It's going to be called a reach. And I'm going to tell you why I'm going to do this. I think Roger Rosengarten is a guy that's a top 10 tackle in my grades in my board. There are to put it this way, 9 to 12 is very malleable for me. Okay. And I'm going to draft Rosengarten. I'm going to draft him now. I'm not going to wait. I think that this draft could be deeper down the road. I'm going to get my guy that I like. I'm not going to overthink it. And I'm not going to sit here and I can fend off of the criticism of the questions. And I'm going to sit here with Byron Murphy and Rosengarten and see I'm happy with where I'm at right now in that draft. Jacob Rosengarten. And I think that he is a guy that could kick inside if he had to. And I think he's going to compete with the Kivitz right away.
So I do really like this pick because I love the foot quickness, the range. But my favorite part about Rosengarten is the hand strength and the timing of his punches. Now, he does play with high pad level every once in a while. He still needs to grow into his grown man strength. Remember, he is a little bit younger of a player. Came in at 6'5", 33 and a half inch arms. Aggressive pass sets, in my opinion. I think his Senior Bowl, for me, he was one of the best tackles at the Senior Bowl.
Oh, 100%.
Easily.
And this is the thing. People just get lost in the name. They get lost in the idea that his teammates. He's also a technician. This guy is a guy that right away, I don't think he lacks confidence. I think he's very coachable. I think he's a guy that right away becomes a favorite. And I actually really love this pick. And I know it's high. I know people are going to say, oh, it's way too high. I don't care. I do not care. I love Rosengarten. I'm taking him at 63.
My draft was just ruined. Rook or Horo.
That was your guy.
I was hoping he fell right to me.
Junior Colston's a guy I love too.
Pick right before I could go. I know a lot of people are high on Braden Frisk. I'm not. I don't think Braden Frisk is as good as people think. Shorter arms,
little stiff.
Yeah, hips plays a little bit higher pad level for being a smaller guy.
Yep.
I'm not a fan of it. But what I am going to take a look at is, so I really do like Chris Jenkins. Chris Jenkins. So he's there at 62, or 63. Sorry, we're picking at 63. I do like Max Melton at the cornerback. You can throw in the slot, play outside. He's there. But I'm going to take a look at the offensive line. I know I just took an offensive tackle. But I want to see who's there at offensive guard. Christian Mahogany. He's there. I'm not. That, to me, right guard isn't a big enough need to do that.
Not with Feliciano.
I don't like the centers there. Yeah. I don't like the centers there either. So I'm going to go edge. Austin Booker at I think Austin Booker's testing in his explosiveness, even though I'm really high on him, I wanted to see more explosion.
He's a
Now, his
one-year
first
player
step
too.
is crazy.
He's only a one-year producer. I don't know if that's going to be enough. I think he'll be there in the third.
So for me, I am looking at this. I really like Max Melton, but I do know the Niners, they love to beef up their interior, whether that's in the offensive line, defensive line. I'm gonna go D tackle. I really like Chris Jenkins.
Yep.
When I watch Chris Jenkins, he's a son of an NFL player, 34-inch arms, 6'3", 299, alignment versatility, functional strength and athleticism is there, super duper high motor. Some areas of concern, pass rushing ability, but he puts a lot on tape to show. My biggest concern with him is his point of attack against double teams. Where can you hold on double teams for me? That's where I'm concerned. Faithful, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm going Chris Jenkins. I cannot pass on him. To me, it's the positional values there. Probably a top 50 pick based off of his combine, all his numbers and everything, as well as his film. I gotta go Chris Jenkins there at 63.
Yep.
Now, going back to your draft, we do have you do have a nice offer, 97 for 94. I would take that.
I take that in a heartbeat. Yeah.
But let me go to all. So you still have Christian Mahogany there.
Ooh.
You still have a few guys. You have Dominic Puny. You have Austin Booker still there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you take a look at where you want to go.
Yeah, it looks like my guy Renardo Green must have gotten drafted. He did. If you scroll up, he probably got higher. I think Renardo Green's going to be. Here's the thing: people get so obsessed with the
74 to Atlanta.
I actually think that's a place that he's going to go. I think Renardo Green. You turn the tape on, watch him against Malik Neighbors, watch him against Brian Thomas. Here's one thing that I've noticed, and I'm not a corner complete savant as a scout, but I will say this: one thing that translates, dudes that can go out and when you're putting in man-to-man situations and you're going up against NFL caliber receivers and you're shutting them down. If you and the people say, well, but you only ran a 4.524. Okay, look, people get so obsessed with the 40s, dude. It's like game speed is different. Hips are different. I love Renardo Green. I would take him if he was there. But now let me look at this. I like mine saying, and I'm never gonna. If it's Saint Ristel, I don't know exactly how he pronounces his name. Saint Ristel. That's a tough one. I know that he's a guy that could come in and play nickel. I am not quite as high on him as others. I would be much more excited about a guy like Cam Hart, who's there. Length, size. I know you like him. I know we were talking about him. He's somebody that I'm considering. Let me hit linebacker, please, real quick.
Oh, you're thinking about replacing Dre Greenlaw?
No, nobody there. Okay, edge, please. Now, I like Austin Booker. To me, this is exactly where you would want. Now, this is the thing with the Niners draft picks in the last several years. Bottom of the third round. Jair Brown, I thought, came in and really did play well given the circumstances. In fact, he was one of the best graded rookies after he came in after Hufanga was hurt for a long time. Had a little ups and downs. He had a little injuries too. I thought he didn't play perfect in the Super Bowl. He was Johnny on the spot with the interception with Mahomes. Had a couple other nice plays. I think once he has a full offseason of being the guy, is going to be a huge development for him. Other than that, we're talking about Jake Moody. All due respect, Shaky Jake. We've got Cam Latu. We've got TDP, RIP. We've got Danny
RIP.
Danny O'Gray. Can you see? We've got no, not on the field. We've got a lot of people that we burned in the third round. Austin Booker from my alma mater, the Golden Gophers, right?
Don't lie, you're an Iowa State fan. You're the Brock Purdy Iowa State fan.
I'm a diehard Iowa State fan, but my alma mater, bachelor's and master's, is the U. Okay, is the U. And by the way, all you guys at Miami, the U. No, if you live in Minneapolis, I just want to give you a little Minnesota culture here. In Minneapolis, it is the thing. It's not a kitschy thing, and they didn't steal it from Miami. Everybody calls the University of Minnesota the U, and it might be other places around the country. I don't really care about other places around the country. just the U. Okay, the U of Minnesota. Okay, that's not a thing, but the U is a thing. So the thing is that Austin Booker could not get playing time. Mark was like, "What the hell happened to this guy? Why wasn't he playing?" PJ Fleck's the coach. He's an idiot. I don't know why. PJ Fleck's a moron. Didn't recruit Trey Lance either. Right? He's a moron. So that what does he do? He goes to KU and thrives for 1 year, and now he's coming out. And if he had one more year, he'd probably be top of the second round easy. Okay. Austin Booker is a guy that I'm looking at here because he is all the tools that I want to see succeed. However, I'm going to go to offense, please. And this is where now I'm looking at BPA. And I might even look at running back. Okay. Nope. Okay. So now I'm going to wide receiver. Go to wide receiver for a second. Okay. Oh boy.
Johnny Wilson being ranked this high, I just want to throw this out there at 97 is criminal. It's one of the worst receivers in this draft I don't care what anyone says. I'll stand on that hill. I don't like him at all.
So at all. Here's a guy. I'm just going to be honest. I think it's probably too rich for me right now because I can't think with my heart. I got to think with my head too. I love Malik Washington. And then I found a bunch of guys where like, I know I was texting you about Malik Washington. And all of a sudden, the same day, the 24 hours later, dudes I do, a couple guys I really respect a lot. This guy, they're like, this guy, yeah, he's 5'8", but he's like 5'8", 195. He is amazing hands. He has the most yards per route run out of the slot position. His average depth, he can kill at the line of scrimmage. He can go downfield. He has shorter arms, but yet he's tough at the catch point. He's basically, I know everybody looks for the next Deebo Samuel, but he can actually run routes. He could go do all of those things out of the backfield. He is tough as hell, and Virginia sucked. And it wasn't just like, oh, we're just like beating up on a defense that's playing soft. Like, so he started at Northwestern, like our guy Greg Newsome, right? He goes to Virginia, busts his ass. You go turn on the tape on Malik Washington. It's hard to not love this guy. And to me, he's got a second round grade for me. I have a second round grade on Malik Washington. I'm sitting here at 94. Okay. So I'm really looking at that. However, I'm looking down when I'm drafting in the fourth round. I'm going to have 3 fourth round picks. I see a guy like Jamari Thrash, who I think is criminally underrated. I see a guy like Brendan Rice, who I know struggles with separation, but I think can go. Jacob Cowing is a guy who is to me
on Sandcastles in the house.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, no. With Johnny Wilson converting to tight, no, it wouldn't change my opinion at all. This guy is off my draft board. I'm sorry. He's off my draft board.
Tight hips, can't catch. Just go watch Johnny Wilson.
Yeah.
Don't watch highlights. Go watch Johnny Wilson for a full game and tell me how he does when someone gets physical with him. His hands are concerning. Everything's concerning about it. Just go watch. Like I promise you'll be turned away.
Okay. So I'm looking at guys I love. I know I love Malik. I'm going to go to tight end real quick. I don't want to take too much more time on this pick. Okay. Oh boy. There's some dudes I really like on this list, but I know I'm going to wait. I know I'm going to wait.
My age is like 30 years, and I'm pretty sure NFL teams only get like 5 minutes per pick.
Stop. Okay, go to
third round. We're in the third round.
We're talking. Go to OG. I know what I'm going to do. Go to OC. Okay. Nope. Go back to wide receiver. Okay. Malik Washington. Okay. So here's why.
That's your pick.
That's my pick. So look, Malik Washington, and for all the reasons that I've told you about, I'm going BPA. I've seen this team as 11 picks. I know we have Brandon Ayuk. I know you have Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel, we don't know what's going to happen to him next year. Malik Washington is tough. This is exactly the guy that Kyle loves. He loves dogs. He loves dudes that can like go out there. He will go over the middle of the field. He will line up outside. He's obviously a killer in the slot, but you rarely see the yards per route run with also what he can do after the catch at that position where it's not just bubble screens right at the line of scrimmage, but like over the middle of the field. You can do whatever you want. He can run it out of the backfield. He is tough as nails. He has phenomenal hands. Phenomenal hands. He's 5'8". He's 5'8". That's Tyreek Hill's 5'8". Now he doesn't have Tyreek Hill speed, but he's 4'4". He's 4'5", right? He's not, but he is that guy, and he's a bowling ball. I love this pick. Malik Washington's my guy.
So for me, I did have a trade offer that I would have taken 96, 165. But if you're tuned in, you just got here. We cannot make any trades. We're going No trades today. My rules, because I wanted to check to some. I just feel like the first draft you do, you can't really. I like to see no trades.
Yep.
So for me, I'm looking at so I'm at pick 94. My first two picks were Kingsley Somataya, Chris Jenkins. Um, I'm looking at best player available. I'm a huge fan of Austin Booker. It's
Yeah,
kind
you
of
are.
hard for me to not take Austin Booker here at 94. I think he probably goes a little bit higher than this. But when I'm looking at what the Niners just did in free agency, they just signed one young player, one aging player. Also, they signed a defensive tackle. They also just drafted Robert Beal, so like hopefully he turns out to be something. So I don't think they would take edge right now. Like I think they'd rather draft a developmental edge. So I'm gonna pass on that, even though it's just so hard for me to do. Like if you guys know me, you guys follow me on Twitter. I'm a huge Austin Booker fan.
No, loves him.
So that to me is super hard to do. But I want to go take a look at receiver as well. I like the value a little bit later. Like the value for me is just so much. It's incredible.
I get
Later. So tight end as well. Looking at tight end, Theo Johnson, I really like. Very good route runner. 6'6", ran really well. The Niners looking for a tight end too, but I don't think he's my best player available. Offensive tackle I already took. Offensive guard, I don't like Coleman that value. I think he's more of a 4th to 5th round guy. I'm not going in round 3 there. Cedric Van Granger, immediate starter, but I'm not doing it either. I want to take a look at D tackle again. This value right here at 94 would be phenomenal. Both of these LSU guys, I prefer Mekhi Wingo.
I know you do.
But
Yep,
Cam Hart's my guy.
Yep, I know.
I think Cam Hart is probably going to go a little bit earlier than 94. I could see him going from 80 to around 90.
6'3", but he's got even more frame. He's all the length in the world.
And for me with Cam Hart, he's one of those players when I truly do watch him, I think he's position. Even though people look at a 6'2" corner, they're like, okay, they usually tighten up in the hips. Cam Hart doesn't. Cam Hart has fluid hips. When I do watch him, he has great feet. He came in at the combine at 6'3", 202, 33-inch arms. His trigger out of the back pedal was fun. He doesn't waste a step. He's a very high level athlete. He showed that when he ran for being 6'3". He's very lengthy and he can play man coverage. The Niners have the ability to go man coverage with someone who could also play zone.
Yep.
Whoa, that's going to be interesting. But he does struggle sometimes when I've noticed. His effort in the run game. Now it's not that he can't do it. It's effort. Because we saw at the Senior Bowl, he came down and made a big hit in the run game. So like it's effort. So if I could get you to be a guy who could show effort in the run game, which I think he will, immediate pick for me. This is a no-brainer. I think Cam Hart is going to have a really, really good, really good career. I got to go Cam Hart.
And this is where you go in Swomataya, which is really where I wanted to go OT, but Byron Murphy to me is just too good. And I believe in I believe what you can control, and I know I can control Byron Murphy being a stud. But for you with going Swomataya, and then your second round pick was
Chris Jenkins.
who's another stud, and then you get Cam Hart. Boy, you can just whatever happens the rest of the way, you've had a great draft.
And me personally, I'm going best player available. Like people are probably, oh, you're only going for need. Those are my best player availables actually, which is kind of weird that it fits the 49ers draft board.
I don't actually have Rosengarten. I have Swomataya much better, obviously, than Rosengarten, but I also have Rosengarten at that guy that's right on that fringe of being that top 10 tackle. And to me, in a tackle depth, it's to me, I think he's well worth the bottom of the second round.
I think he may go into that he could push himself into the top 50 range. And the reason is
I agree.
He played so well at the Senior Bowl.
Yep.
Tested so well at the combine. Yep. He's one of those guys where he's coming out early, a year early. Teams really see that offensive draft class. And for example, you might have a team who knows they're not going to get anyone better after that. Take him right there. So I don't mind where you took him. I think that's great value, to be honest with you. Now, it's your draft board. You have a lot of players on the board now.
Oh boy,
I know where you're looking at earlier, linebacker and stuff like that. So wherever you want to go.
Well, let's go. I'm going to go quicker on this one, but let's just go to the positions real quick. I'm not going to talk about them all. So yes, well, let's go to running back, please. Okay.
Right.
Yep. I love Jalen Wright. I'm going to talk about him here in a minute. Let's go to tight end. And also, let me see my picks. I got 124. What else do I got coming up?
You got 124, 131.
Oh, see, okay. This is where it's
fun.
And I'm going to tell you this. I'm usually not a guy that's like, fourth round. Like, I mean, I'm a draft junkie. We both are. But like this year's draft, that bottom of the fourth round are still going to be hella good players. Like this is good depth going through that early to mid fifth. I think I really believe that. And I think this is a situation where I'm looking at now. You can't be crystal ball on what other teams are going to do, but I do know I got 7 picks later and 2 picks after that. So I have 3 out of the next 10 picks. Okay, I'm going to tight end. I see Theo Johnson. I love Theo Johnson. Another guy I really love, and I know a guy that you said you would wait until the 5th. I don't know if I would because I think he carves out a super good position. I love Jaheim Bell. Okay. And I know I've got 3 fourth-round picks, and I don't have it. And my 5th pick is a compensatory 5th. Okay, so I'm going to go to OG real quick. I'm going to go to OC, and I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to look at it. Okay, we're going to go up the defense side of the ball. We're going to go edge, please. Linebacker.
Jalen Ford's enticing there. I'm not going to lie.
He is enticing there. We're going to go to cornerback. Safety. And go back to the all list, please. Okay, so here's my thing. Mekhi Wingo, I've already gone there. I do like Adrian Taylor Demerson. He's a little undersized, but I don't really want to invest in the safety position at this point. I think he can be a good player. I'm going to sit here, and again, I'm not going to get cute. Back in the 2017 draft, I wanted a guy named Alvin Kamara, okay, from the University of Tennessee. And you know what the 49ers did? They traded the pick to the New Orleans Saints. And then they drafted Ahkello Witherspoon with a pick after it. They had 2 consecutive second-round picks or third-round picks in a row. Can you imagine Alvin Kamara with Kyle Shanahan? Can you imagine that in that offense? Now, I'm not saying they're completely comparable players. Jalen Wright will not be here. I'm just going to say that right now. Jalen Wright's not going to be here, but here's the thing. There are other players that aren't going to be there, and I'm taking Jalen Wright right now, and I'm not even thinking about it, okay? And Jalen Wright is close to my RB1, okay? If I'm looking at running backs that I know you love Jonathan Brooks. I think Jonathan Brooks is a hell of a player. If you're asking me though to really put my money down, Jalen Wright.
You did take Jalen Wright, right? I already chose him for you. Okay.
Jalen Wright's my guy. Jalen Wright's my running back. I will take Jalen Wright over any run. He is my running back in this draft, period. He is a guy that is going to, with the Niners, Christian McCaffrey. They have to find a way to spell McCaffrey, no matter how durable he's been. You cannot keep running him till the wheels come off. You cannot treat him like a Debo wide pass. You cannot keep doing this. It will not last. I think Jalen Wright comes in immediately as a dynamic ball player, and you pair him with a guy like Malik Washington, who could be also a utility guy. I love it. I'm moving on. Jalen Wright's my guy.
On my side, he went to 116 to the Ravens, which would be phenomenal. What's crazy is I really like Jalen Wright. I think he is I think if I had to go back, maybe running back 2 for me. But the speed, the explosiveness, I knew he was going to test well at the combine. When everyone was shocked that he tested well, I was like, do you guys not watch these players? Like, this is not a shocker to me.
I almost took him in the 3rd round,
which would make sense. I don't mind anyone doing that. So I want to take a look at receiver here. I know Javon Baker just went, which would have been phenomenal for the Niners. Great receiver. Glad he gets to go play with CJ Stroud in that mock. But for me, I'm looking at this. I get everyone who likes Luke McCaffrey. I like him. Not at 124. I'm going to take a look at tight end. I love Theo Johnson. I just mentioned earlier when I was taking at 94 that I would take him at 94. The value's there. 6'6". What he ran with 4.5. I believe it was a 4.5. That's pretty damn fast for a tight end who's 6'6".
That's
When you
George
look
Kittle
at it,
speed. Yeah.
and he's a good blocker. People don't give him enough credit for his blocking ability. And that's where I'm excited about Theo Johnson. I know a lot of people, when you watch Theo Johnson, I have not seen a corner or not, sorry, a big tight end like that who's 6'6", sink their hips as well as he does running routes. Really, really good route runner. He's creative after the catch.
Mm-hmm.
The only issue I have with him is his twitchiness, but he has the speed. He has everything else. Me looking at other spots, offensive guard, Brandon Coleman's still there. That's a good value. He probably goes a little bit earlier than that. I do like Bo Limmer. I think it's Bo. Probably that's how you say it.
I do too.
Edge. I don't see after pick like 70. I don't see any edge rushers that I'm like in love with. D tackle, I already went D tackle, but I do want to double up at some point on defensive tackle. I do really like Jalen Ford here at 120, but I know I get to pick at 131 again, so I'm kind of betting on hopefully he's there. If not, going with the value on who I think is the best available player on my board. Best available player on my board, 100%, 10 out of 10. Theo Johnson. Niners finally get their tight end 2, who could actually run block and actually run routes. Like Kyle Shanahan's giving Brock Purdy another weapon.
He could actually catch like those things called footballs.
Yeah, but tight end 2s though. Tight end 2. He's going to be the tight end 2. You're replacing
Charlie Pop Warner. Yeah,
Charlie Warner. So Theo Johnson, but I am really intrigued on Mason McCormick here because I do like the offensive guard. So I am intrigued there. Like it's kind of hard for me. For being a small school guy, his film is phenomenal.
Yeah, it is. And you almost took my guy. Is this my pick now?
No, this is my pick. I'm taking Theo Johnson here.
Okay.
Now it's your pick at 131.
Yeah. Go to center.
He's gone.
Oh, no. Scroll up. Did he go right before my Tanner Bortolini? Yeah, I was going to. Okay. So, yeah, he went down 118. Okay. There's guys here that are good. Hunter Norzad is a lot better than I think.
He's not going 170. 178 is not where he's going at all.
Bo Limmer, again, another guy I really like there. However, let's go to OG real quick.
Breaking news: Austin Hooper to the Patriots. I don't know if that's really breaking news, but
it's not.
You want to go and announce it? You said tight end?
Yeah. Breaking news. I'm going to pour myself another glass of wine. Yeah, go to OG, please.
OG.
Yeah. I will say this. I'm not like, there's things that I don't like about Javion Cohen, but there are sets of things I like that I know there's things I shouldn't like about him, but there are times where I see him. It's way too high for me here, but I can see him being a guy that the Niners look at lower down in the draft. But there's nobody here I want. I'm going to go to OT again. I already drafted Rosengarten, but Javon Foster. Yeah, let's go to tight end, please. I'm not going to go Theo Johnson because I'm going to try to talk about different players as well. I also love Eric All, love Jaheim Bell. We're going to go back to the defensive side of the ball. And we're going to go to DT. And here's where I know already drafted. I drafted Byron Murphy. And here's where there's a couple guys I really, really am intrigued by.
Just remember, you're on the board back to back pretty much. So I'll let you go both right away.
Oh, both right away. Great. So Mekhi Wingo, I really like. I also like Christian Boyd out of Northern Iowa. I think that he's a guy that has piqued my interest. We're going to go to edge, please, real quick. And we're going to go to linebacker. We're going to go to cornerback. And safety, please. And then we're going to hit all. Thank you. Okay, so what we're going to do here is a bunch of guys up there I like. I like Marshawn Floyd. I already did my Jalen Wright. I got my Malik Washington. It doesn't stop me from drafting another receiver. I'm going to go with Mekhi Wingo here. This is where I'm going to go with my best player on my board. I think that Mekhi Wingo is a absolute stud. I think he's going to be a better player than Mason Smith. Who is a more highly touted teammate of him at LSU. I think this is great value. And you say, well, you already drafted it. Yeah, I don't care. The 49ers holes all over the defensive line, man. They need rotational players. Like in the fourth round, it doesn't. You draft players and you figure out the rest later. If they're great, they're great.
Absolutely.
It's like I don't give a shit if I drafted 3 defensive tackles in the fourth round. If they're like this, and by the way, this team needs defensive tackles. I don't know if you saw what's happened here on the 49ers roster.
Armstead's gone.
So yeah, so Mekhi Wingo, I take him. Marshawn Lloyd was a lad. Really loved out of USC. I'm a little concerned about his injury history, but I love what he can do. I love his elusiveness. I love his yards after contact. But now I'm going to go right back to back. I would really strongly consider Theo Johnson here. I'm going to try my best not to go redundant with
go do what you got to do. It's your draft board. I don't want you to go somewhere else, and then if it's truly your draft board, go with your draft board.
Yeah. I hear you. Scroll down just a little bit here. Okay. Here's oh boy, and I know this isn't. I'm at a buck convention here, and I'm going to go ahead of what I know Marco is going to do. And Marco said you would draft this guy until later rounds. I know, and this is people can say I'm just having fun with this, and I go we're sitting here drinking wine. I'm going Jaheim Bell. Okay, I'm going to draft Jaheim Bell here. Okay, I'm not going to wait because I'm not trading. I don't draft again until the very end of the 5th round of compensatory picks. Kyle Juszczyk, we've everybody talking about.
Go ahead and take him for you.
Take Jaheim Bell for me right now. Yes. Okay. Jaheim Bell immediately can come in and fulfill that H-bet, that Delaney Walker / and he is going to end up well surpassing Kyle Juszczyk as a guy who touches the ball. Okay. He is going to be an offensive weapon. He is not a traditional tight end. Okay. He is a Delaney Walker / Juszczyk player that can be in those situations. He's not going to go in line, but he can do those things. And I think you figure it out later. I understand that you drafted Cam Latu, a guy who I didn't even have on my draft board. I'm going to say that again. I did not even have Cam Latu on my draft board. Yes, I knew who he was. Braden Willis, I had as a 6th round prospect. They got him in the 7th. I'm not quibbling with that. I don't even know if Cam Latu ever sees the field again. We've seen what happened with Jalen Hurd. I like Jaheim Bell. I think they figure it out. I think they find a place for him. I think he can play special teams. We're going to see what happens. And I think Kyle Juszczyk ends up, if he restructured, I don't know what's going to happen. I think he's going to end up getting cut, but I think it's going to be, I'm going Jaheim Bell here. I love him. I think that he's going to go higher than people think.
And what's interesting for that is if the Niners do that, they probably have already cut Juice at that point. Like it's probably already a chance that the Niners have cut him. I assume they're still trying to work on that contract for him. I'm not going to put anything out there. So for me, I know I have taken Chris Jenkins, Cam Hart, Theo Johnson.
Love it.
Definitely intrigued by Mason Bassan. I believe that's how you say his name, Bassan Smith. Mm-hmm. I really like Jalen Ford. I don't know if Dre Greenlaw comes back to full strength, and I think Jalen Ford, his tape is phenomenal. Like when you watch him, he probably goes a lot earlier than this. Like I don't see him falling to 130 at all, especially with the weaker linebacking class. I do want to take a look at receiver real quick. I do like Jamari Thrash. I know I pick again at 131, 133. So I'm kind of got to be smart, but also like Jaquan Jackson out of Tulane, where the really good route runner, has speed. I do like Cornelius Johnson, who I think is a Nico Collins kind of receiver. Ran really well for himself. Made himself some money, that's for sure. Luke McCaffrey, I know a lot of people are like, well, go Luke. I like Luke, but I'm not going to pick a player because he's not that high on my board. So for me, I got to go defense. Looking at Mason Smith, looking at what my notes personally say about him. Quick initial first step.
Yep.
Athleticism is insane. Alignment versatility. He could literally line up outside, kind of in that role that Armstead did on base downs. His functional strength to set the edge. Again, Armstead role. Issues, injury concerns, limited playing experience, plays with high pad level at times, and he's going to need a lot of reps. Definitely a day 3 guy, which we're in round 4, but this is an upside guy. He could play the 3 tech, he could play the 5 tech. If you need him, you can line him up over the center in that 0 tech. 35-inch arms. Now, 49ers do like that position versatility along that D-line. So it's possibly a chance the Niners do take him. I'm kind of intrigued. Like I kind of want to take him. I know the Niners are in need of defensive tackle depth. Now they have Kalia Davis. I don't know how that's going to work out. But I do want to take a look at the offensive guard. Mason McCormick's there. Center. I got Bo Limmer still there. I got Hunter Norzad is still there. Man, here I'm going to have to go best player available. Masan Smith is definitely my best player available. Upside is there.
And I went with Mekhi Wingo on the same spot. And I think when you brought, I think you just mentioned Kalia Smith. Kalia Davis is the guy. When I think of Mekhi Wingo, I think of Kalia Davis. And I think Masan Smith, he's obviously a rangier, taller, starter position. But I think they both have great initial bursts, like you said. I think it'd be interesting to see where they go in the draft, the two of those guys.
So for me, I think this is Hunter Norzad is definitely going to be going in this range. A center. Now, PFN has him go 178th on their board. His tape is phenomenal. He played really well at the East-West Shrine Bowl. A lot of teams really like him. The Niners are going to need a center. Kind of. I would choose Hunter Norzad over Limmer, but I do want to take a look at running back. I'm not liking the value. Dylan Lobb is the best available there. I would actually say Marshawn Lloyd is a little bit better than him, but based off of their rankings.
Yeah.
Receiver, Jamari Thrash. But again, I like Jawan Jackson later in this draft. Hopefully he falls to that 176 range. Man, the Niners just drafted 2 linebackers last year. Dang. JC coming in with a hot one right here. Personally, I think we take Justin Smith. His nickname is the Cowboy. I'm sure you guys haven't heard of him. Have not heard of him. Hopefully he's out of retirement, ready to play.
What's my guy Jay? What did he say? JC, aka what?
AKA Jarkon. Jark might have said that wrong. He's probably going to be mad at me now because he made me say his name.
He don't give a shit if he's mad at me or not.
No, me, not you.
Tell him that.
I said his name wrong.
He's my guy.
Bro, he could hear you, first of all.
Good. He's my guy. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, Jay. Come at me.
So there he is. What's he saying? I cannot read it.
It doesn't matter. He can't read either. He's from Iowa.
Oh, dang. You guys are taking shots at each other. I kind of like it.
Yeah, look, hey, man, I'm from Iowa, but I left Iowa. I went to the U. Okay, I learned how to read. And it's like this. Ooh. So, yeah, I know.
That's fired.
Heavenly streets, baby.
For me, I got to go linebacker here. I don't know if Dre Greenlaw will be healthy. I don't know how he bounces back from an Achilles injury. I'm not sold on D. Winters. I'm not sold on Jalen Graham. I do think Jalen Ford is phenomenal value here. And again, I'm going best player available based off of my draft rankings. And when I do look at Jalen Ford, just to take and what sucks for me is I really don't want to pass Hunter Norzad up right now. So taking a look at Jalen Ford's draft profile that I have on him, his range is what I like to see. I do like that he came in at 240 at the combine. Works well towards the line of scrimmage. Very good IQ. I think he's better in coverage than people think. I think he's a day 3 guy. But I personally think he's a day 3 guy, but I think he's a high day 3. I think he goes either back end of the 3rd or early 4th. So him here at pick 120, I have to do it. Even though I'm passing on a lot of good players here, I just think the value is too good to pass. If it wasn't for Jalen Ford being here, I personally would be going Hunter Norzad, and then after that, it would probably Jamari Thrash. But because Jalen Ford is here, I got to go linebacker. You also got to plan for the future. I don't know how my guy JC says, "Screw you, pal. I'm illiterate."
Yeah, everybody knows that, brother. It's just like, yeah, that's good. Throw yourself a parade.
You're on the board at pick 176. You just took Jaheim Bell.
Oh, I love it.
You're replacing a guy named Kyle Juszczyk who catches
passes
or something like that.
And I'm looking at my board as I'm seeing it on the left. I know people have this preconceived notions with picks go. I'm looking at my draft and I'm seeing 6 guys that I actually absolutely love. So I'm all about. I'm actually happy. I've never had a mock that looks like this year, and I'm really kind of low key stoked with it. I'm
So what
happy
happens
with
when you
it.
come to the Clutch Gene Sports
Hey,
podcast, man? You
yeah,
get the best podcaster, the best podcast and mock draft you could possibly put together, man. Come on,
oh,
man.
it's where it is. Okay, so let's see. So here's the thing. Jaheim Bell is not a traditional tight end. It's tight end by the letters only there.
Ooh,
I
this is a
love
long
Eric
pick,
All out
David.
of Iowa. I love Eric All out of Iowa, and I'm not drafting Jaheim Bell to be a tight end. I'm drafting Jaheim Bell to be an offensive weapon utility guy who I don't think will be there at 176.
So to be Kyle Juszczyk, that's what you're drafting him to be. He's a P. Kyle
Well,
Juszczyk.
yeah, and clearly Kyle Shanahan wants somebody. And all I've been told is that Kyle Juszczyk is the only human being on planet Earth that is the key to 21 offense, even though they're better than 11. Look, there is no way in hell, just bookmark this, that Kyle Juszczyk is the only human on the planet Earth that can be a key to 21 offensive personnel with Kyle Shanahan. I'm sorry, I'm just not buying that. I'm just not going to live in that binary world where it's like so black and white. And I believe that I'm not saying Jaheim Bell is Kyle Juszczyk completely, but it doesn't have to be. He can be his own guy. And Kyle's offense can evolve. It's not going to stop me from taking Eric All. I'm very strongly considering it. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to look at, just scroll down the list just a little bit. I don't think I need to go to any positional values here. Keep going.
Go. Where at?
Scroll down. Keep going. Yep, keep going. Keep going, Grandpa. Let's go here. Now,
I mean, what you want Joe Milton? I mean, that's what you want to go, Joe Milton.
Oh,
You're going down to.
I gotta see. I'm not beholden to PFN's rankings. I just want to see what I'm working on.
I forgot you're old. You can't see.
Do I gotta go quick? Do I gotta go slower with this and go positions here again?
No, go ahead. You can just tell me what you want to do.
All right, so go up to the positions.
Come on, Grandpa.
Just go up to the positions. Jesus.
Come on, Grandpa.
Oh my God. All right, let's go to tight end, please. Okay. There's two tight ends. Actually, there's three. There's three. Yeah, Dallin Holker is nice. I like Eric All. I like Brevin Spanford, but I'm not going to go biased with my alma mater. I think he has a place that's too rich for me here. Tip Ryman. I know he tipped the scales at the combine for a lot of people. Oh my God, that was good. But the idea that, from Illinois, I know Jay lives across the river from Illinois. It's about the same thing. You don't want to get a east wind out of there. Run it back. Oh, who's not one of the, oh my God, this guy, he can't even take a picture without doing a selfie and reversing the logo on his hat. Cause somebody get him a modern phone. Okay. Now we're going to go to OG. We're going to go to OG. Okay. Can we go to OC?
OC.
Yes, yeah, the OC. Okay, so here is where I'm going to go. Here's where I'm going to go, and I'm going to go to Hunter Norzed. I'm going to go tight end, center out of Penn State. Okay, this is going to be my guy. I really feel that this is a good sweet spot for him. I think he fits perfectly into what the 49ers like to do at center. He can come in, compete for a job. I'm not saying he has to win it. At this point, this is where I feel like he's the last center on my board. Drake Nugent, I would take potentially. CJ Hansen has a nice athletic profile, but he's a UDFA. This is the last center that I feel comfortable drafting, and he's a center that I have in this range. And I think that he's a guy that could potentially be a guy that has utility at guard spots as well. I'm going to go with Norzad here. I think he is good value, and I think he is somebody, even if he doesn't become a starter, is value.
Nah, he'll be a starter, man. He can start year one.
This guy's going to call me, what does he call me? Daddy Warbucks? Brother, some people get a paycheck. You might want to try that sometime. Okay? Yeah.
What's funny is just so everyone knows, they're friends. So if anyone doesn't know, they're
no, we're
friends.
not. No, we're not.
So for people who, Hunter Norzad, phenomenal player. I think he does start year one. For those who like PFF grades and who like to look at stuff like that, he had a 74.4 run blocking overall grade. 77 in run blocking, a zone blocking grade of 79. What kind of scheme does Kyle run over there?
What
kind of scheme does he run offensively? Is it run blocking wise?
Yep.
So
and people got to remember that these PFF grades come from these college systems. And I'm not saying that at Penn State they don't prepare players or anything like that, but it's sometimes, as you know, Marco, translating what these guys are and how they're graded versus what they're asking them to do in those schemes is not always apples to apples when you're translating it to And I take PFF grades with a grain of salt. I think, like I said, they're a great tool. From what I've seen out of a guy like Nourzad, I think that here at the bottom of the fifth, we're talking almost early sixth, no-brainer value for me.
No brainer, and he reminds me a lot of the guy he replaced, Juice Scruggs from Penn State, who became an immediate starter for the Houston Texans. Phenomenal player right there. I love the value. I love the pick. Now on my side, Eric All's at the top of my board. Hunter Nourzad made it to 176. Let's
Take him.
go.
Take him. Take him.
That's easily pick. I was getting ready to take him at pick.
Take him.
I got done saying earlier I was getting ready to take him at pick 133. If he's there, I'm running to the podium and I'm smacking draft.
Good.
If I'm the Niners, that is the easiest pick for me. Honestly, easiest pick of the draft. Like, I'm not even joking. I truly believe Hunter Nourzad is going to be a starter. I think he could be Kyle's starting center for 10 plus years. He's a quick set pass rusher, wins early with his hands. He shoots his hands very nicely. And he's very firm. He has a strong punch, very athletic. He played guard. He's played left tackle. He's played right guard, right tackle. But his best position is going to be center in the NFL. His first step is extremely fast. Plays with great pad level and power. For me, easy selection. If the 49ers don't take him, I'd be confused. If he's there at pick 176, I wouldn't be shocked if Kyle Shanahan is watching him and says, you know what, at pick 130 or at pick 124, that's my future starting center. It just makes so much sense for the 49ers to find their starting center for years to come, to go with Brock Purdy. And I think Hunter is definitely that guy. If you have not watched Hunter Nourzad, athletic, could pull from the center spot. I honestly, he's probably a top 5 center in this draft class, and you're probably going to have him go a lot higher on draft day or draft weekend than most people think. Now we are, I believe, don't close anything. We're on your pick 211, and then you pick at 215.
Okay, 6th round pick. We're going to go faster with this. And this is going to be something where I'm just going to look at a couple things here real quick. Okay, let me take a look at linebacker, please. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Here's the thing. Maris Liufau is one of those guys that I'm not was a little, I think where he is ranked here at 182, it's not that far off of where I would have him. He's somebody that I'm going to be considering here. I'm looking down at, there's a guy I really like. And the guy I like more than Maurice Liufau is Edefon Ulufashio out of Washington.
Dude, what's crazy is I got to tell you a story. On this guy. So I was watching Washington. I wasn't even watching Ulufashio. I don't know how to say his last name. Wasn't even watching him. I was like, damn, this dude's popping on film. Like, what? I was like, who the hell is this guy? So I started watching him, watching him more, like focusing on him now.
Yep.
And I text Rohan, who's also a partner of a channel on Wednesdays. Watch him. He's gonna climb boards this draft cycle at the combine. Runs really well. And I had told him, he reminds me of the Niners fit in terms of smaller linebackers who could fly, who could fly around in coverage, stopping the run sideline to sideline. Kind of gives you that Dre Greenlaw kind of like mentality in terms of do it all kind of linebacker who's smaller, safety converted linebacker. Phenomenal player. I just have to tell that story because I was shocked that he ran as fast as he did, but it actually I was shocked. It really was. But when you go back and watch, his film does match his play style. Not play style, what he ran. Sorry.
No, I completely agree, and he's going to be high on my board. I think I don't want to waste too much more time because he's going to be a guy that I'm considering here. I want to go real quick, go up to the all. Okay, you got all on there.
Yeah,
yes. So no, put it in. Edefon Ulufashio. This is my guy. I'm not going to wait. I can't wait. Go down. Do you want me to take my 215 as well, or just want me to wait? Okay, so here's the situation where I look at a guy. I know they've looked at Sion Vaki, a guy out of Utah who's got some utility. I'm not going to look at this. Here's where I'm going to go with my guy. I know I talked about you with this. I see him on the list. He's a guy that I was incredibly impressed with in drills. He popped off the screen in every single move. He's a guy that I think that is going to be a much better pro than he was in college. I think he is a small school guy. His name is Miles Harden. He doesn't have a lot of length. He's got a lot of athleticism. He's a guy that can play all over the field and he can thrive inside. He is a guy that is not afraid to get his face dirty, his hands dirty. He's a guy that I think is that Nick Sorensen and Brandon Staley, because Brandon Staley, he's doing those yoga poses. He's gonna be all over this guy, Miles Harden. Okay. Harden for Harden. This is the thing. Miles Harden is going to be my guy here at 211. He is out of South Dakota. He's there, right?
Oh yeah, I already took him for you.
You took him on my side. So this is my guy. So I'm really feeling good about this. So here's where I am. I also want to go with guys who I think that are not really my guys, but that are athletes who can really pop off the screen, and that you're really taking flyers on their pedigree, or not their pedigree, but their athletic profiles, but also they're those lunch pail dudes that are like putting their nose in it. These are both guys that like just pop off the screen for me in that regard, and I love it.
Cool. And for him, do you see him playing inside or outside? Because I know a lot of people after the combine, a lot of people said he's going to be playing inside at the nickel role.
Here's the thing. I think I do think that he would be more of a guy that I look at nickel. I will say this though. There's always this time to kind of pigeonhole guys and put them. Look at Demo Lenore. Everybody said Demo Lenore was going to be. There's nowhere he's only going to be nickel, and look what he does. He goes outside.
All right, it's time to shut the show down.
Oh my
it's
God!
Time to shut. All right, EJ.
Why you gotta go? Why you gotta? I know what Jay's doing. He's happening. I gotta go. You know what? He's DMing me right now. I guarantee you, he's DMing me. I know he's talking to somebody else I know too. Okay, so yeah, we know what's going on. Miles Harden, I think, has the potential actually to be one of those guys that has more utility out, but I think he's balls to the wall inside like a stud. I really think I mark this name down. MYLES, Miles Harden. He's going to be a player in this league, and I'm not saying he's all pro. I'm just saying he's going to stick. He's going to be a good player.
Jay, do you know who reported that? I'm very curious because I'm very, very, very curious. And I'm guessing you're talking about Tre'Davious White, cornerback. I mean, I've heard the Niners are talking to corner, but it wasn't given a name. Wasn't given Tre'Davious White's name, so I cannot say yes or no.
He didn't say the 49ers. He said the NFC West.
The Niners are in the NFC West.
So
and I know they're talking to corners, but I don't know. The Rams just signed a corner.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the Niners are talking to corners. That's one thing that I was told. I've been told every position that they actually took. One of them, I DM'd someone saying that they were actually going to take Jordan Elliott. Should have tweeted it out, but
Greg Newsome, baby, he's my guy. Greg Newsome, just sign it, just put it down.
Going back to my side, taking a look at receiver. I probably should have taken a receiver a lot earlier, but I'm on yours. I'm not even on mine. Wait, what the heck?
Did you draft my guys for me? There we go. Good.
Bro,
oh, no.
This is what we could do. Look.
Yes.
I've been writing them down. So I picked 250 at 211. You have on your side, you have Edufon,
Ulufaccio, and Harden. Yeah. It's all good.
But I'm gonna tweet it out like an actual like tweet and have people vote on our shit.
Okay.
215. I completely messed up. Miles Harden. I won't forget that. I'll write it down. So I'll take at 211 and 215 on your board. Even though,
it's fine.
Who was there at 211 though for me? No one I would have taken at 211.
Yeah, you're fine.
That's for sure. I mean, maybe Jordan Whittington, kind of like a Debo role.
Yeah,
but no, I wouldn't have taken anyone anyways here. That doesn't even matter. So I could still actually. I'm on the wrong side still, but just kind of see who's here on the board on this side. I personally, I really would have gone here at 211. I'm not gonna pick him, but I'll pick him on this side. Bub Means. Rohan put me on him, man.
Yeah.
So Bub Means.
Bub, and his name's Bub, like B-U-B.
Yeah, B-U-B. Good player.
Yep.
I was hoping Cornelius Johnson would fall in this draft, but I know he's not going to fall. I completely messed up. I was going to go Bub Means anyways if he's on this side, which I'm pretty sure he's still available. He's still available. Doesn't even matter. that's where I was planning on going. Rohan put me on. I think he's a late seventh round pick. We're in that seventh round. I would personally go him now because I think he has that availability to be a guy. Rohan, special teamer. That's something Niners need. And then at 215, go to all. I know this is your side.
It's okay. There's nobody here I'm taking either.
So going over here at 215, who was here? So I'm at 215. Don't think I would take anyone here. Let me see if there's anyone. So what I'm pretty much doing, just for people, I screwed up, so I'm taking a look at to see if anyone was there. Corner. Okay, he's there. 232. Marcelius Dial. You fell in love with Miles Harden, Marcelius Dial.
And this is your list now, right?
Yeah, this is my list. This is my list. So Marcelius Dial, I started watching him at the combine. I was like, this guy moves well.
Yep.
He ran a 4.46, but he jumped off the building. Was jumping really well. 6 foot, 190. He ran 4.46, jumped. What I did, I didn't even care about the 40. I saw his jumps at 40 and a half vertical, 10.9 on the broad, and I started watching. I'm like, wait, he's moving well. Whoa, okay. He doesn't look tight hipped. Looked natural. Looked fluid. And when I started, and then I was like, okay, now I got to go watch him for a little bit. Physical and coverage. He has burst. He has a tendency to stay on top of vertical routes. Stuff I want to see. Like that for me, for a late developmental corner, I would go Marcelius Dial, and he was there on either board, so it doesn't even matter. Like I'm not even looking at the rankings. I'm looking for my guys late in the draft. Like that's where I'm personally doing. So that's what I would have done. So Marcelius Dial.
Sounds good. All right. So I'm back to my list. Or are you finishing up?
No, this is yours. We're on yours, right? Yeah, this is. Oh, damn it! Did I screw up again?
Yep.
So 215. So it should be on this.
Let me just pick up. Let me just
go
pick
ahead.
up
You
your
just
side.
go.
I'll pick up from your side on this. So I'm going 250. I think I already did 215 with Miles Harden. Okay.
Yeah, you already.
So I got 215 of Miles Harden. So I'm going to go to my list.
Anyone? You could go from here because anyone after Miles Harden.
Oh, keep going down.
And
I go all the way down to what number?
And I'll go to all. You go down to 232.
Oh no, I'm
because
good.
You haven't picked,
I don't want any of those.
You didn't pick
anyway.
At 215.
I don't want any of those
to be.
Yeah, I don't need any of those. So 215. Miles Harden's probably still there, but it doesn't matter because I'm going different guys now, or what?
So here you go. 215 from anywhere up. Anyone particular you're looking for?
No.
I messed up completely.
All right, so let's go.
You're calling JC illiterate, but it's really me.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, hey, you would not make my knowledge bowl team. Okay, like
probably wouldn't. They're probably smarter than me. It's all right.
You'd be on the D team. Okay, there's actually a school that we play against called Mountain Iron Buell, MIB. You would go to the school called MID Mid. Okay, like that's what. So let me go. Let me just go to the list of the players that I want. Okay. So I'm going Miles Harden. Let's put it this way. I'm down to how many more picks do I have?
You have 232 and 251. So that's what I'm saying. You get to go from.
Yeah. So any of these guys here from Miles Harden on, I don't really want any of them. Okay. So let's just go to my all list, please.
Your all list.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're going to go down. We're going to go up the positions. Go up the positions. Go to offense. Go to quarterback. Okay. I'm taking Keaton Slovis. Okay. I'm taking Keaton Slovis here. Okay. And here's the thing. I think Keaton Slovis is a guy that showed better tape at USC than he might have done at BYU, and some of that was a little bit rough. But I think that
And this is at pick 232, by the way.
That's fine. It's a 7th round pick. Look, I know it's higher than 262 where Brock Purdy went. It's I'm just saying that in this situation, you're not going to roster all 11 guys normally anyway. You only have Brandon Allen and Brock Purdy. I think this is you get a guy that had pedigree. That there was a time where Keaton Slovis was supposed to be a 1st round pick. Guess what? There was a time that Brock Purdy was in that conversation, believe it or not, right? Like I had Brock Purdy as a low first after his sophomore year at Iowa State. I had Brock Purdy as a low 1st round, high 2nd round grade. Okay. Here and that's I got receipts for that. Here's the thing and so Keaton Slovis is a guy that I feel it's funny that Marco was texting him, and I'm sitting here be like, oh my God, I've been mocking him in the 6th and 7th round for weeks, right? Yeah, I don't even know what this guy's talking about. Look, somebody like put the Michael Jordan meme on him, get some help. Okay, so here's the thing, man. The man, but the guy does have bars, so I'm not gonna lie about that. So Keaton Slovis is a dude that I think that comes in. Is no guarantee to make the team, but right away, I think is going to come in, going to surprise a couple people. I think he has a talent. I think he puts perfectly what Kyle wants to do in that scheme, and he's a great 7th round flyer. At that point, you're trying to look at a guy that might make your roster, might be able to compete in your practice squad. No, he's going to clear waivers. Keaton Slovis, if that's the case, I still like it there. I don't want to compete with him in UDFA. I like it. I want Slovis. Mark it down.
And the funny is I was taking Slovis too. So
okay,
technically Marcellia's dial should be at 215. I fucked up on my side. So we're both at 251. Our last draft. You could pick whoever the heck you want. Everyone's there. Whoever you want.
Go to tight end, please.
Are you looking for a rip tip?
Yeah, just the tip. And this is how I'm going to end. I'm going to end my draft with just a tip, and I'm going to tell you a story about that. Look, I may or may not be a father because of that, and I will say that tip. Yeah,
this dude had way too much wine tonight.
I might be a dad because of just a tip, but just a tip is going to be your daddy on the field for this team because Jaheim Bell is. I'm going to tell you right now, just a tip. Ryman is going to make everybody forget about Charlie Pop Warner. Okay. Charlie Pop Warner is going to go ride the pine. And just the tip is going to lay the pine. Okay. That's what just the tip, lay the pine, Ryman. Okay. And there's another joke I have about that, but it's not safe for the airwaves. Okay. Tip Ryman actually is a guy that I love at this position. His athletic profile is unreal. He actually as a blocker, he is what Charlie Warner can be as a blocker. And he's actually going to be somebody that you could use offensively down the field on occasion. And I think he's going to make Cameron Latu completely dispensable. Tip Ryman's my guy. Draft him at Illinois. I think he's going to go higher than this. I like him. Just a tip.
So I'm using my 7th round picks, 232 and 251, to make sure I get the guys I want. Easy for me, Rasheen Ali out of Marshall, Kyle Shanahan guy through and through. I had to make sure I get him. So I'm gonna take a look at our final results after 211. Don't look at that because this is my draft. But 211 would have been Bub Means. It would have been, and then 215 would have been Marcellus Dial, Kadon Slovis, and then Rasheen Ali. So I messed up. So if you want to look at the final results, I'll be tweeting that out. A comparison of these two. Now, David's results at 211, it was Ediferon Ulofoshi, and then it was Miles Harden, Kadon Slovis, and then at 251, he finished it off with a little tip.
Just a tip, Robin.
What's crazy about this is it's funny that his name's Tip, like it's a hyperbole. Like, bro, he's like 6'5", 271. Like, dude's huge. Like,
and he has an all-time RAS. And this is the thing with me is when I'm drafting, and this is my philosophy, and I know it's like you shouldn't always go hard and fast. I mean, just the tip always goes hard and fast, just like rapid fire. But the thing is about like the idea about just the tip, that type of RAS score that type of RAS score. This is where you go in the 6th and 7th round. Adrian Colbert was a guy that had a high athletic profile, didn't stay in the league forever, but he had an impact early on. You can't say he didn't leave his mark. I mean, and just a tip, when he's going to leave that mark, you don't know. I mean, it could go anywhere. Okay. Here's the thing about Ryman. When you go to 9.93 RAS and you're drafting that guy at like Mr. Irrelevant, I'm sorry, like to me, that is exactly where you allocate that capital. You want to go guys with high ceiling. If they're high floors, who cares? Like that's where you go. And I actually don't think he has that high of a floor. I think he's a guy that people talk about. Charlie Werner in the 6th round once upon a time in 2018. I don't remember what draft that was. Charlie Werner caught 11 balls in 3 years or whatever it was, 4 years. It's like Tip Ryman is going to be able to be a guy that I think right away displaces somebody like Cameron Latu. And by the way, Braden Willis, Jaheim Bell. Braden Willis is not Jaheim Bell. I'm going to be real with you on that. And Braden Willis was on the 53 active. And so
interesting. We both took Hunter at pick 176.
Yes, we did. Yep. And I know you waited on the running back. Rasheen Ali is a guy I really love out of Marshall. He is absolutely perfect for the 49ers scheme. I just couldn't turn down Jalen Wright.
Great value there.
Jalen Wright is honestly my RB1. He's my RB1.
Well, comment who you think drafted better in the first couple of rounds. I'll go out and I'll put on Twitter both draft picks based off of David's actual draft picks. Because after that pick 211, I messed up. I started choosing on the wrong side, so I completely messed up my side on my mock draft. And threw David's off completely. So that's my fault. That won't happen again on the next mock draft 2.0. Now, so make sure you comment who drafted better in the first couple of rounds. Niners getting Kingsley, Chris Jenkins, Cam Hart, Theo Johnson, and then following up with another defensive tackle to add depth. Or Byron Murphy, Roger Rosengarten, Malik Washington getting some speed and athleticism in that receiving room, with Jalen Wright being the number 2 running back. Probably finishes off CMC finishes his career here. Jalen Wright takes over. Another explosive out of the backfield, good running back. Wakai Wingo. So a lot of good picks here. And I think we just fixed the Niners championship window. I think the Niners are now going to go and win a championship.
Oh, yeah. 30 years, baby. I mean, why not? It's only been 30 years.
Absolutely. David, thank you for joining me. I know it is getting a little late where you are. It's already 9:41, about to be 10 o'clock at your time. Thank you guys all for. Oh, he said, I actually think both are pretty solid. I appreciate that. Now,
does move the needle for me.
If you're not, make sure you guys are following David Liechty on Twitter, Backcountry Fam. Very knowledgeable guy when it comes to the draft, 49ers. Make sure you guys tap in with him. You guys may know him from Jesse Naylor's podcast, Last Second Sports. Shout out to my guy, Jesse. Make sure you guys subscribe to Clutch Gene Sports. You guys can find me at Marco_Mark1205 on Twitter. Shout out to everyone for tuning in today. David, thank you for joining me today, man.
Yep. You.